Welcome to another edition of Open for Business, where small business owners share their stories and lessons learned. I'm your host, Marjorie Young, coming to you from Hilton Head, South Carolina. Today's show is with business owner Helyn Gallucci. She is the founder of In and Out Cleaning and Steaming, an industrial cleaning service by day. And in the evening, they offer housekeeping for residential move-outs, constructions, and short-term vacation cleaning. We're going to learn how she has pivoted her company during the pandemic with the guidance of a nonprofit organization called SCORE. SCORE is a national organization with a local chapter here in the Lowcountry, and their mission is to mentor small business owners for free. Two of Helyn's SCORE mentors are also joining us, Karen Casey and Mike Waters. So welcome to Open for Business. How are you guys?
Great. Thank you, Marjorie. Thanks for having us.
So I want to jump right in. Helyn, when you first learned about COVID, what was the first thing that you did to ensure that your business was going to survive?
The first thing I did is I looked to see how much business we had at that time that was not affected, that would still warrant cleaning, and it wasn't a lot. And then I looked at how much staff I have that is full-time and would be affected by cutting back or stopping work.
So
we were very fortunate that we remained open the entire time. Obviously, we lost a lot of business when they shut down the short-term reservations, but there was still quite a bit of activity on the island. So because we are a little bit larger company, we had a lot of properties and people were occupied in them. So we also diverted right away to let our customers know and our homeowners, second homeowners, that this is the time to deep clean. Yes, you don't want to spend money because you don't know what's going to happen and what the future is going to bring, but we know we want to rent our properties and we want to ensure that they're clean and ready. So we were also able to do some annual deep cleans, which helped a lot.
So that was a new idea during COVID to do the deep cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
Very good, very good. So how did you incorporate SCORE in any of this?
Well, so as everything was unfolding, I used SCORE actually when I opened in 2008. The chamber, Beverly Maloney from the chamber introduced me to someone from SCORE. But I was just beginning and I didn't buy an existing company. So it was a little hard because I didn't have all my ducks in a row yet. But I realized as I grew, you need people to talk to who can think outside the box or that may have a little more experience than you do. And if not, what I like about SCORE is there's a melting pot of other people in SCORE that, like Karen can say, well, I checked with somebody else and, together this is what we think. So it's just a nice way to run ideas, bounce things off of another business owner's, head to reinsure, okay, I'm on the right track, or no, I'm completely in left field.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of, pull back.
So Helyn, that was very brave in 2008 that you started your business during a crisis, and now you have another crisis. Are there any similarities between then and now?
I've always said that, in time of crisis, there are good things. If you keep positive and, you look around, okay, how can I capitalize or how can I utilize what I have, my skill set, my staff, to kind of alter things, to work out. 2008, I laid a lot of people off. I was in the hospitality industry, and I was one of the last to go. And it was a very sad situation because there were some really good people unemployed. And that's what really gave me the idea of owning my own company again. I had previously owned restaurant and bars in the past. And I was excited to be in the corporate world, but yet you have a little more control over how much you work and what you do when you're self-employed.
Absolutely. So, Karen, let me ask you this question about Helyn. What do you see has been really helpful with her past skills with dealing with COVID now?
I think the ability to deal through a crisis and to keep positive. It's easy when all these things happen to think, oh my God, my business is going down. I've got no revenue. My employees don't want to come back because of obviously the circumstances. It's very hard. Helyn's got this wonderful ability to be positive and say, okay, I know things are bad. I know I'm losing business. And we even had a conversation when this all started. And I distinctly remember her telling me, like, if I don't stay in business, someone else is going to take my business because these people need cleaning. And if I can't get my employees to be comfortable, it's their decision. Obviously, I'm going to ask them. I'm not going to force them to come back. But I need to stay in business. And she just pivoted to the deep cleaning, to the other issues, to applying for SBA loans. Whatever she needed, she did.
So, Helyn, how did you finally get your employees to feel comfortable enough to come back? What specifically did you do?
Well, it was, it's interesting because some were very, very shy about coming back for various reasons. They have elderlies or young children or babies at home. And then there was the other side of, I need to work, I need to eat, I need to survive. So you have to mesh the two and educate the side that says, I want to work, I want to work, I want to work, to we have to be careful and, we have to step back and change some things and then try and make the other side of the staff feel comfortable, that I'm not trying to harm them, that I'm trying to keep the flow going. And if they're not comfortable, then we look at other alternatives. We right away looked at products to help from the minute we got to the front door of a customer's house to what do we need to do when we come inside. And it was pretty much common sense that, doorknobs, lock boxes, door handles, sofas, anything like that needed to be wiped, touched, sprayed. We're dealing with garbage. We need to have gloves on. Masks aren't always comfortable, but they protect you. We also asked all of our clients, wait outside, sit on your patio, leave your key out, go do your grocery shopping, and then come back so that both sides, the client and the staff member, were, comfortable being in the house.
So how did you convince the clients that you have a safe company with safe procedures? What kind of messaging did you put out?
So I reached out to all the different clients we have to see where they were at. Our short-term vacation clients all were following suit of the mayor and the governor. So I had to take their lead. They did allow us to wait 24 hours if a property wasn't turning. So we would push it back to a day or two. And that way it was sitting empty and we didn't have to worry about coming in after a guest. Mm-hmm. Residential is still pretty split. There are some residential clients that are discontinued service till further notice. Mm-hmm. And there are clients that have put the key out and said, we still need you, because there's a lot of seniors on the island and they can't keep up with, the vacuuming, and if they have an animal, the dog hair, the cat hair. So we kind of just had to be very flexible, and the concerns that were displayed to me, are displayed back to the staff. And I think everybody's been very cautious about how they, address each individual client.
So, Mike, what do you think Helyn's next step is as I guess we're kind of emerging from COVID, sort of, kind of. What do you think her next step is, marketing-wise, operation-wise? Should she really push the marketing? I mean, what would you recommend?
So what's really interesting about what Helyn talked about is that in a very uncertain and a time period in which no one really had all the answers, like you carefully assess the facts, you gathered information from the state and from the county and from the town. But I think the common area of influence for your existing clients, as well as where Margie's talking about where do you go from here, is trust, right? You exhibited the calm. I've assessed the facts for the employees of yours, and you're leading through an uncertain time with as much honest assessment as you have done, with an idea about how can my company help you, the existing client and new client. You express personal concern about that, right? Those things that come out of what you're saying: personal concern for your employees, personal concern for your clients. So those are themes that will outlast any uncertainty in the marketplace. Is that trust and thoroughness as a service provider. And they're buying, as much as they're buying the service, they're buying you and your personal concern for them, so you can continue to maintain and grow your business. So those themes will be very important, and testimonials from your clients. As you know, you don't have to use the whole name, but Karen C. and Marjorie, you know how that works.
Yeah.
So either wherever your marketplace has been from in the past, what we're saying is anything that happened prior to February 15, 2020, which was kind of the anchor point of when this economic and health disaster was determined to occur. Now, going forward, you're creating the future through that vision that you're personally reinforcing with your own employees, so that they stay with you and are confident that you have their best interest in mind and your clients. So those are the things. Our suggestion would be to really hit home.
Yeah.
We're here to protect you in this new uncertain environment.
So Helyn, do you think, are you watching your daily P&Ls? I mean, is that something that SCORE can help you with? And I know Karen her background is accounting and money. I mean, what kind of numbers are you looking for? And what kind of shifts have you seen in your P&L?
Well, it's funny because it's a little lopsided right now because we're so busy with the short term. Guests, I think they said there were 30,000 here for Memorial Day weekend travelers. But I just had a conversation with Karen, I think yesterday or the day before, that what I need to be focused on right now is all the businesses opening, because a lot of offices, smaller businesses have in-house housekeeping. Joe takes the garbage out on Wednesday, and Susie at the front desk is in charge of the toilets and the bathrooms, and they kind of do it as a team. But really, a small budget for real sanitizing now, sanitizing toilets, sinks, door handles, your seating area. It's not that expensive. People are afraid, oh God, I gotta get a cleaner, it's gonna be expensive and we can't afford it. But I hope and I think business people are gonna say, hey, we need to budget for this.
And I think that could be part of your marketing, because the fact that they have a cleaning regimen is really good to let the public know. I mean, yes. And how are you letting the public know?
Well, and that's what I was just telling Karen. I should be working and coming up with a game plan to get this out as people open, because I don't want to lose any more opportunity. And, some people may say that they want to do that and make it safer for their clients. And be able to, like you said, advertise. Look, we're sanitizing, we're open, we'll make it safe for you. So I need to move fairly quickly on getting the word out that we can assist small businesses with this.
So Karen, what advice would you give to Helyn about moving quickly with getting that message out?
Well, we talked about that for her business. Honestly, a lot of this is word of mouth and being in front of people. We talked about, whether, a website works, but it really doesn't, because not a lot of people are going on a website saying, oh, I'm looking for cleaning. You really need to put the thought in their head and the concern they have for their employees that, yeah, they're not comfortable now, cleaning toilets or counters or chairs or doorknobs. And do they know they're using the proper sanitizing, cleaners or whatever? So we talked a lot about that yesterday. But it's all word of mouth. It's getting out there. It's knocking on doors. It's talking to existing customers, to other customers. It's basically making the message known. But then the other thought also is we're seeing a lot of businesses, and I hate to say that, but surcharging their customers for the cost of doing this. So going back to that, they may have to pay a service similar to Helyn's, but they may be able to take this on in some way, shape, or form so that they recover it, because obviously they're hurting too. They've got to worry about their bottom line and income. And sometimes a customer will pay that extra if they walk into a store and feel comfortable, or a restaurant. And if you charge me an extra $5 because I have to make sure everything is beautifully clean, you know what? I pay it. Versus another restaurant that I'm like, they barely cleaned that table when those people got up from a restaurant, and I'm a little worried about them. So,
yeah,
just options. You really need to know your market and how to get to them.
So Helyn, in your information that you sent over, it talks about some awards and certifications that you have won, and I would imagine that has created some good word of mouth for you.
Yes.
Did that end up in the newspaper, the local paper?
The awards?
Yep.
Yeah. So the People's Choice Awards, we won 2015, 16, and 17 Best Housekeeping.
And that's beautiful word of mouth. That right there, you cannot buy with advertising. Beautiful.
Yeah, that was really nice. It was great for the staff. We did a celebration appreciation for the staff alone. And then, we went to the celebration that they have. And then we used the logo, of course, in all of our email and signature lines. So that was a great achievement. What else? I was an ambassador for many years with the chamber, so I tried to participate in as many openings, and that's how I let people know in the very beginning about our company. My company is just,
is 92% of how you do it. The more you can do that, and I know the busier you get as a business owner, it's hard to do that. But so what specific places were you networking?
I do a lot of networking. I was in BNI for 8 years.
Okay.
Last fall, I'm not sure if anybody's heard of LaTip, but that is the oldest networking group from 1956. There aren't many chapters. There's no chapters in South Carolina, so this is the first chapter. It's similar to a BNI, but a little bit different. And so I am myself and Dr. Dr. Sugg from Ocean Dental formed this group, the TIP, and we're trying to grow it. It's really geared toward the smaller, newer business owner. We've done a couple open houses. They were great. We got great responses for people who are a little shy. They're not quite big enough to get into BNI. They don't have a lot of staff. They're just kind of getting off the ground. So I use that as a great form of advertisement. Facebook is unbelievable for.
Let's talk about this. Are you doing just organic? Are you doing paid ads? What specifically are you doing? What time do you post? What advice do you have?
So when I first opened, I did a newsletter and Facebook, and I can remember the phone never rang. I was in the phone book. And then all of a sudden, people got used to looking for those posts. It took a while. It was like I had to keep doing it and doing. Then all of a sudden, I was getting the calls and the emails. So I would put pictures of our staff, not fake pictures, but like a project that we did, so they could see us doing windows. They could see us doing housekeeping, because I felt like that message clicked. Oh, I need my windows done. Oh, my business windows need to be done. My house, needs to be done. So I tried to rotate commercial and then housekeeping, commercial, so people wouldn't get bored.
And what days, how often did you post? Was it every day? Was it every other day? 5 times a day?
Well, the newsletter I did once a month, and I used the theme of whatever that month was to incorporate cleaning, which was hard to do. And then for the Facebook ads, I think I would do at least 3 times a week. Pictures, fresh pictures, just quick synopsis, or even I would do like a employee appreciation, because I would tie the employee into the Facebook page. So if I didn't have anything to advertise, I was giving them accolades about the performance.
So Helen, did you actually boost it, buy an ad, or just post it?
Just posting.
Okay. Did you ever buy ads for it?
No.
And did you have a page, or did you just do it all from your personal page?
No, I have a business page, and then I ask my staff to go on the page and share it, so it's getting out farther than just who follows us. And sometimes I'll take certain people that I've just done business with, and I'll ask them to share it, or
like a testimonial.
Yeah. And honestly, the busier you get, the harder that stuff is to keep up on. So anybody caught up in this coronavirus thing should be doing that now while they have the time.
Awesome piece of advice. So, and you're able to tag people and share it. All right. What so to the SCORE mentors, what else do you think she should be doing now? Sounds like you got a lot of the bases covered, Helen.
Staffing is an issue.
Okay.
We still have a lot of people on unemployment, and we still have some people that are afraid to go out and work. And we always have a shortage come summertime. So I think that's something that, we're right in the middle of right now.
At SCORE Mentors, what would you tell her? How should she handle that?
Well, Helen and I had a conversation, and she mentioned earlier she was very lucky to get a loan to buy a piece of property, because she's bringing all her cleaning of her linens in-house. She uses an outside service right now. So by bringing in, buying this piece of property, she's able to equip it with all the, washer dryers and everything else. But it does bring her a whole new avenue of other opportunities to say, well, if I'm doing it for me, why can't I do it for some of these other local businesses? Because so it's a pivot that she's done. And this is the conversation we just had the other day, because she got the loan. That was really exciting. And we talked a little bit about who are all those businesses that she should now approach to say, okay, well, let's get it organized for her.
Awesome.
And then how do you use that going forward? So again, it's looking at the ancillary pieces that, yes, right now might be difficult because people are a little bit scared. They may not want you in the house. Well, what else can you do with what you have?
Absolutely. So Karen, how will Helyn be contacting these businesses that could now use her services?
Again, it's word of mouth. She already has a laundry list. She's amazing. She just, being that she's been in this market for such a long time, she knows everybody. It's picking up the phone and saying, hey, I am now offering this service. You know, again, it's word of mouth. It's networking. It's being involved. Understanding that it is the small business. It may not be the larger corporations that need her service because they probably have somebody already. But who knows where it's going to lead to? Just keep communicating and talking. I mean, she must have put out 20 names when we were just talking yesterday. I'm like, well, you don't need my help to market this. You know who to call. You know, let's move on and see exactly how we can make this all make sense for you.
So Helyn, you'll pick up the phone and call those 20 to start with. Do you also have a flyer? Do you also have what else?
I do. I have a flyer. I have like a
digital flyer
that I can email. I have, when I bid on something, I usually give a picture of myself with a bio, a very short bio, just about me and the company. And then I have a list of commercial vendors that I've worked for, and they can call them.
Let me ask you this. Sorry to interrupt. Do you have to ask their permission to be on that proposal?
I've asked, yeah, so that they won't be surprised if they get a phone call.
Okay.
Pricing is tough because it's so specialized that you can't, I mean, other than the short term, the villas and the houses, you can't really specialize in pricing. So I have to meet with all the clients and look at what they need. Yeah. What their requirements are, what their business needs are.
So, do you do it by the hour, or do you do it by the package, or is it a both? Or
I incorporate the labor hours into my bid, and that's my base. And I think that's why our prices are competitive, because there's a lot of different ways. If you Google it, it's all over the spectrum. I mean, for construction, you can do it, by square footage and by price. By residential, you do it by house. So, I try to keep the prices lower, because then I'll get more referrals and people are more apt to use your service. If you're really good and you're pricey, you're narrowing your market. So I always look at my labor, and that's how I figure out, okay, what do we have to make to do this job? And then I look at, okay, what's the business need to make? So our biggest two expenses are labor and linens, because we supply all of the linen for all of our luxury homes and villas. And that gets pretty pricey, depending on what your inventory looks like.
Have you always had the linens, or is that something new?
I would say probably the first 2 or 3 years, I was mostly residential, move out cleans, construction cleaning, with just a little bit of short-term vacation cleaning. And that just started coming by osmosis. Once people see you're in the cleaning business, then they start saying, would you like to look at some properties? And
let me ask you about one of your largest contracts. How did you get that?
The largest contract I got, I heard about in one of my networking groups. I asked specifically over and over and over if anyone had a contact in this group, business group. And somebody did come forward and make an introduction for me. And then I just kept knocking. And it was a game changer for the company. It was in 2015. And it's when we went from the slow growth to up over the hump. And then that's when we really started to blossom.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I make a list of clients that, like right now, some good leads for me would be the tanker outlets.
Mhm.
I think with the coronavirus, a day porter would be nice. Somebody who walked around during the day, wiping the handles around the garbage cans. Of course, the bathrooms are already probably being done regularly, but I think that would be a great account and one that could really benefit from more cleaning because of the population of people that go there. Another great lead for me would be Belk. I know they sub out. So I continuously keep a little list.
Brilliant. That's brilliant because it's the law of attraction. If somebody's watching this and they say, hey, I have a connection, I'm going to call Helyn. That's how it works.
Contracts coming up, let this person bid. A lot of times we don't hear about bids. They're not posted locally. You really have to go and look for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Mike and Karen, any other insights of what you're really impressed with what Helyn has done besides all the other things?
I would say that she's in the right place at the right time in the business she's in, because what used to be considered a convenience or something that was just necessary in order to be in business, whether you're renting long-term client or whatever in a residential property, certainly in commercial, to now it's an essential safety matter, right? So just think back 3 months ago. Would you have ever expected hotel CEOs to be talking about how the hotel rooms are going to be clean? No.
Right.
But now it's essential. It's I want to know before I go. So what you're able to do is you have the expertise. You can protect those that are requiring that level of compliance with the highest standards. So what you can do is you can set the bar for your own company and the competitors that you may have, is to say, we do it better than everybody else, and here's why. Here's the Helyn list of areas that we go way above and beyond. You don't have to give your trade secrets about your product mix or the way you do it, but you can legitimately say, this is what we do for you. This is the level of comfort you can gain from using our services. And so you are poised to grow. There's two ways you can grow your business, and you've already talked about them. You can grow existing clients, and that's with a database and phone calls and email. You might want to even consider having someone else on your staff to take that on for you. So it's an investment in marketing and sales while you're running the business. But then it's new clients, right? And you're talking about ways to gather the leads on new clients. And that could be through setting that bar very high. We're the best in the business. You can't get a better value and attention to detail than you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other point that Helyn did, which I tell all my clients, especially now, you're wondering where your next dollar of revenue is. Well, we all know the old 80-20 rule. 80% of your profits come from 20% of your customers. Well, who's that 20%? And think about if you just duplicate that 20%, you just increased the profits by 80%. So going back to the, whether it's the hanger or the belts or anyone else, if you have that little list, it could be 5 million. That's it. But every conversation you have, oh, by the way, do you know someone who works here? Or do you know who their cleaning people is? Or whoever? And again, networking, just having a great website and pushing posts on social media will get you some business. But those big ones, you got to work a little harder for, but you also have to know your target. Who is it that you think you can bring real value to and have that conversation with? and just keep pushing.
So Helen, before we close, what advice would you like to give to the small business owner watching this about growing your business?
I think the most important thing right now with the economy the way it is and the coronavirus is don't stop shopping. Look for ways to be creative, to keep your name out there, even if you're open or you're shut. Get the name out there. Keep getting on Facebook. Talk about when you're going to open. Come up with new gimmicks for when you do open. But don't stay silent. You always need to be shopping. You could be so busy that you don't know how to get through a day. But the next day you could lose a huge client and then you're like, I don't have a backup for this. So you have to keep constantly looking every day like you're shopping for your next client, your next idea, your next motivational staffing project. And as long as you can't do all of them at once, but as long as there's a baseline list there, you have something to work toward. And that kind of helps.
Goal. It's a goal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Thank you. Karen and Mike, how, if any small business owners watching this, how can they get in touch with SCORE and the Low Country SCORE?
It's very easy. You can go on to score.org, and at the top left-hand corner of the website, it says Find a Mentor.
Okay.
And a couple questions. You answer just a brief description of what you think would be of interest to you and what kind of help SCORE can be for you. By zip code, when you enter that information in, you press submit, and it comes right up on all of our 40 mentors here in the Low Country. So we're 40 to 10,000 around the country. So if there happens to be somebody from another part of the country that's listening, you have an excellent example of a small business owner who reached out actually twice, right in the beginning, Helen, and then more recently. And everything we do is free without charge for mentoring, assistance anywhere, and confidential. We don't discuss anything that's beyond the matters of discussion and interest of the individual small business and nonprofit and for a mentor. So very easy, score.org.
So Mike and Karen, and to every SCORE mentor watching this, I want to personally thank you for what you're doing during this crisis, this COVID pandemic. Without keeping these small businesses going, we're in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You are
Absolutely.
part of the solution, and I just want to thank you for making this happen. And Helen, thank you so much for being very open and sharing
Thank
these
you.
strategies. This is definitely will help a small business owner watching this. So,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing the show. It's a great idea. I enjoyed
Thank you, Margaret.
watching a couple of them. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, this one was definitely full, lots of great tips. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching Open for Business. And until next time, we'll see you then. Be safe.
Mhm.
Talk to you soon. All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye now.